This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
I'm sitting here thinking, we spoke for 15 seconds before we get on here, but this is what she does. As a coach, as an astrologer, she offers just astrology wellness coaching using astrology, which by the way is a science. And we pondered the word fate, F-A-T-E, a second ago. And then I'm thinking, what is this word? What does it mean? You always hear that term. Well, it was fate. That's why that happened. It was fate. Was it really? Now let's tie this into astrology, something called the nodes of fate, and what we've got going on in our astrological world right now with the transits. And maybe we'll get some answers from our professional of the year. Nancy Volante is back with us. How are you doing?
I'm okay, Steve. And that was a great introduction. I love that because, I always am looking up what is the definition of fate? What is the definition of destiny? And those are two words that I'm not sure, right? And so, what we're going to talk about today is, we have this partial solar eclipse on Sunday in Virgo, and that will close out the eclipse season. And eclipses really can't happen unless they're by these nodes of the moon. And they're not celestial bodies, but they're points that, intersect the ecliptic of the moon's orbit. So they're points. So the sun, the moon, and the earth need to be by one of these points for an eclipse to happen. So when it's a lunar eclipse, it's a full moon. When it's a solar eclipse, it's a new moon. So we did our full moon in Pisces. Now we're going to do the new moon in Virgo. And so they're called the South Node and the North Node. Now, in ancient times, well, let me stop for a second. Is there any question that you have, Steve,
Nope.
about that so far? Okay. So in ancient times, and I love this, and in Vedic astrology sometimes as well, and I don't know, I'm not a Vedic astrologer, but just a tiny, tiny bit. So it's the symbol of the dragon. And the tail of the dragon is considered the South Node. And these two nodes have karmic energy to them. However you define karma, which I tend to now define it as a place of growth and release and understanding. So the South Node is where our past is. If you are resonating with past lives, that past gifts, past situations that you've had in life. So it's the past. It's where you feel comfortable. That's not always a place where we can grow, where we feel comfortable. Okay, I think I'm just going to stay here. And we've all done that. I've said it too. Yeah, I just want to feel comfortable.
Well,
Not
which
really.
is it's human nature. That's what we want. It's safe.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'd rather, not me, but just we think this way, rather play it safe than make that change over there because the play it safe is the known.
Right. So with the South Node is the known. That's perfect. That's beautiful. But that's the tail. But what's pulling us through the tail, and I always say this, we go through the belly. Sometimes we get stuck in the belly of the dragon because we're digesting. What is the past? How do I go to the future? How do I bring all these with me? Because you don't throw anything out, right? So when we're traveling through this symbolic dragon, we're traveling to be able to get to the head of the dragon, which is the North Node. And the North Node is the future. It's the soul growth. It's the evolution of our collective consciousness and our individual soul growth. So we have a choice. And maybe fate is choice. I don't know. We have choice. We can stay there. Universe isn't going to say, okay. But because these nodes are in our chart, in our birth chart, and then we have them transiting. So we get like a a double dose of that. It's always asking us, always saying, you can evolve, you can grow. What do you want to take with you? What can you release? So the tail is free to push you forward, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
I know.
So I want to pick your brain on fate.
Please.
Thinking about this, could fate be just the universe? That's the way it was supposed to be. That's the universe, has a plan, some believe, and that's way it was supposed to be. That's fate.
Or is it the way it could be if you put on top of it that you have choice? So you can think of it in both ways. This is the way it's supposed to be because it's in your chart. You have the North Node. For instance, I have the North Node in Scorpio in the 11th house. I have the South Node in Taurus in the 5th house. So that's my line of destiny. Where do I want to grow? And
Hmm.
so is that my fate? Am I going to engage in it or do I decide not to?
Well, what if something happens? And we've heard that,
Mhm.
many times. Oh, yeah, I can't believe that happened to Joe. It was fate. It was fate. So, I look at it that way. This happened. Maybe it wasn't the best thing, but it did. Some may say, well, that's the universe. That's the way it should have been. That's the way it should be. Now I get the choice thing. Could Joe have had a choice in what happened?
If
Maybe,
it was, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
maybe ultimately, and I'm just trying to process this.
Yeah, me too.
Let's say I'm going hypothetical here. There was an accident, right? Car accident. Picking anything here, something that's not the best. And some would say, well, it's fate that whatever. Um, Ultimately, Joe could have drove a different direction. There would have been
Right.
a choice. It seems like in everything here, there may be a choice. I don't know. I got to process this a little bit deeper.
It's just complicated because when you say, okay, if Joe got in a car accident, now we're looking at the chart and all the layers in there.
Hmm.
Not necessarily the nodes, but what's happening with Mars, what's happening with Uranus. Is there some kind of transit going on like it's square? Or does Joe have in his chart Mars in Aries square Uranus in Capricorn or whatever? Does that could possibly, wherever it is in the chart in the houses, make him accident prone? So then all
Hmm.
these others things sprinkle.
Now, well, let's flip it around. Let's flip it
Yeah.
around. Joe went through a really bad relationship. Oh my gosh, can't even believe what happened to him. He's a good guy. Melissa went through a horrible relationship too. She seems like a good person. And then just, wow. I can't believe she went through that. They were at Starbucks the other day and they ordered the same cup of coffee done their way. It was a, pumpkin spice chai latte. And they go to reach for the cup thinking it's their cup. But it was only for one of them because they didn't make the other one. You're getting a pumpkin chai latte? I love those, really. And it was fate, someone may say, that they met at that moment. Now, maybe that was the universe putting them together. They've been through a lot. They deserve to be with each other. But there was always a choice. What if Melissa didn't go at that time?
Yeah.
So the more I'm looking at here, there's choice involved.
There is choice involved, and it's like, you know, and then I love this conversation because it's making the word fate not just one singular thing, but a expansion of what all there is and what can happen, right? What can happen in the moment if you're listening to your intuition, if you're really aligned, which is one of the big things of astrology wellness coaching. If I'm aligned with my soul self, and I'm bringing all of me to the table, then I'm going to listen to my intuition. And if something is going on in the stars, and this person doesn't know anything about astrology, and there's this aspect that, or transit, excuse me, that is about relationships. Like, say they have something, like the North Node in the seventh house or something of relationships. And so maybe that's bringing them together, or
Mm.
it all stems down, I think, to consciousness, being in your mind, body, and spirit, however much you can, right? Wherever you are in your life. So it's almost as if I believe that the spirit gives you fate. Nah, I can't say that all the time, but in these moments of either enlightenment or not, if that makes sense. I'm trying to find the word because
Mm.
I think fate is a really interesting word. And
Right?
yeah, when we talk about the South Node and the North Node, and let me bring it back to how it's playing out right now with the energies. I want the audience and even ourselves, I did this last night, to think about what was going on in your life the January 11th, the latter part of January 2025. What was starting, if take a moment and think back, and you can do this later.
Oh, I already
Th-
know.
Okay.
I already know.
Okay. Okay, good. Hold that thought.
Okay.
That's when the nodes changed because they change archetypes every 18 months. Okay. So January 11th, South Node went into Virgo, North Node went into Pisces. Now, wherever those points are in your chart, whatever house it's in, okay, is going to give you information what the next 18 months will be like, how you can become conscious of that. What do you need to let go of as far as Virgo goes? What do you need to travel towards that north node in Pisces to gain more spirituality, to gain more insight, to gain more boundaries?
This is very interesting because I know what was going on. And even I just looked down, brought up the calendar to confirm, bam, 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 all right there. And it was
I
a
love it.
very impactful time. For me, very impactful time. Um, but I'm not sure how to take, and it all turned out great, but I'm not sure how to take that and translate it to what the next 18 months could be or will be.
Yeah, so you take that, Steve. So that's when it all started. So something percolated then. I know for me, it was starting to percolate that I was gonna, okay, this really feels right about selling my yoga studio and really going into
Hmm.
the coaching and the astrology and letting go of 25 years of professional dancing, yoga, and all
Wow.
that, and bringing it to something else.
And
But
that
I
was during that during that time?
Yes. And I
Wow.
didn't know what that something else was again because we're still human. I'm not the type of astrologer that looks at my chart every day to see what's going on because I want to feel. I want my intuition. I want my connection to tell me. And then I'll go and validate, or I might go if I'm feeling. So that was happening. So now those nodes have been in that position of North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo since January. They'll move out and enter another archetype. I think it's June. I have that down. Um, July 2026. So we've got some time yet to figure out. So what the nodes are asking too is how do you adjust? It's all about adjusting. How do you adjust to releasing what doesn't work anymore, or maybe rebuilding that, and how can you grow? So how can you grow in this relationship with this axis, Virgo and Pisces? The roots are about how can you have a sustainable life that's practical through your work, through your understanding of being analytical but not overcritical,
Mm.
and connect that into a more spiritual, more expanded version of the other side of that balanced access, which is practical spiritual.
I'm still blown away by what you said in terms of January because
Yeah.
that week, say it again. I want to make sure I got that right. January 10th, 11th-ish, that week, right around there.
Yeah, January 11th, right around in there. Could be a week later, whatever, and
No,
nothing's
it's
a
right there. And I'm gonna share. I've talked about it
please.
before, but I'm gonna like it's weird. Um, I developed squamous cell skin cancer,
Oh,
and I've dealt with skin cancer for decades, but this was elevated, and out of nowhere on my neck, it in 10 weeks just grew to the size of a quarter. It's like unbelievable. I was told it was stage 3
wow.
just about a week before this, I guess, transit that you're talking about. And it was during that week that I connected with the doctor my mom had because she had skin cancer. He just became available in my health system. It was almost as if it was dropped from the sky. Here he is. And he said, you don't have stage 3. Don't worry about it. I'm like, yeah, but the other doctors are saying yes. He goes, you're going to be fine. It was during that week where I was getting poked and prodded and biopsies and blah, 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 and all that. And it was 2 weeks after even later in that week, it was determined that it wasn't, it was a mistake. A couple of weeks after he did surgery, 60 stitches, can't even see it. It's all good. And that was it. So I'm trying to think of how that, out of the entire month, that week was a very big week. And how that looks in the future. But for me personally, in my journey, um, I developed resilience. I use my intuition because, quite honestly, my intuition was screaming, "You don't have stage 3. Stop, stop." I remember the phone call. No, 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 no. This is not adding up. But I needed another doctor. But it was all that time. This is like crazy that's the
That's so
week.
beautiful. Because the Virgo South Node is about our health, asking you to release something or maybe a fear or an understanding of your health. And everybody's health track is different, our DNA, our what we inherit and all that. But asking you to really look at that and what could you release around practical healing and refinement. That's the roots of this South Node in Virgo, you know,
Wow.
and taking on a new mind body balance of health and wellness and bringing it to a more spiritual level that's a little bit more open to other modalities of thinking, healing, expressing, and being.
I could go even deeper in
Yeah.
what's being presented here, but laser down even more. My mom had the same type of skin cancer on the other side of her neck. Why did it manifest in the neck? That's not, it's just random. It's just random. I'm in the same spot. I believe it has something to do with the throat chakra,
Yes.
where she
Absolutely.
didn't speak her mind about a family situation, and I didn't either. And I believe that was kind of hanging on in the lineage.
Ooh.
And then the doctor that she had instantly becomes available for me. He wasn't. It was a week before he became available in my health system. What are the chances?
You know what,
Okay,
Steve?
guess what? Fate.
Yeah. Or it was presented to you like this could happen because this is where the nodes are asking you to release that karma in the throat chakra that's connected to you and your mother lineage and expressing your truth, your creativity, who you are. But you know what? This is so odd. I was cleaning my desk and your chart because we did your chart that one time, right?
Hmm.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep Steve's chart. So you know what, Steve? I'm going
Oh,
to take it
okay.
right here for a
And
second.
while you're doing that, for anybody who thinks this, stuff is kind of woo, I went back and looked at major situations in my life that turning points, big stuff,
Oh,
right? I look back and most of those times were during a Mercury retrograde. I'm talking even going back 40 something years during a Mercury retrograde. What are the chances of that?
that's yeah, that's crazy.
I can't make it up.
You can't make it up.
I won't belabor the individual situations, but they were big and they were life changing. Um,
Yeah. That's why I like to go back sometimes. Let's to go back to where a certain transit started, and like this transit that we're talking about with the North Node and South Node. What was going on? So how is it affecting you now? Now I'm looking at your chart, Steve, and I'm looking at your chart where I have your birth chart, right? That never changes, and then the transits that we looked at. That this was September. Oh, excuse me. This was June 25th, 2025, that we did your chart. So the South Node, this is great. I love this. So I love this. The South Node transiting in Virgo is in your fourth house
Meaning,
as we speak, meaning that's the foundation of your lineage, that's your roots, your family, your home, your well-being, how you consider yourself to feel safe. And the South Node is in Pisces in your 10th house. Now that's like your reputation, your career, your profession, but we can bring it down. The 10th and 4th house can also represent mother and father.
hmm,
So in this case, you have your moon in the 4th house in your birth chart. So this is a healing with your mother, letting go of karma. And you started that June 11th. That's really beautiful.
wow. And this
And
is
you
going on right
can
now.
reach. Yeah, this is where the eclipse is going to be for you.
Hmm, can't make it up.
You can. And that's what's
No.
so beautiful. So we go back to the fate. Maybe fate means it's all there. It's all there when we come in, right? We've made the soul contract, and now we have to play it out as we connect and relate to the movement of the planets. Maybe that creates fate. I don't know.
Hmm.
But for this and for you personally, what a beautiful healing to bring this dis-ease in a sense, or this moment of karmic release into a place where you can grow into that 10th house, which is the top of your chart. Bring that experience. You bring the experience of what happened to South Node in Virgo transiting to that 10th house transiting North Node in Pisces on a more spiritual level, what you're doing right now.
And tonight, I'm being honored at a charity event for my years in radio.
That's so beautiful.
I'm not even,
And as
and it's
I'm holding,
uncomfortable.
as I'm holding my throat, it's so interesting. How beautiful is that?
And that's not me. I don't look for attention.
Right.
And it's almost uncomfortable. Like there's a part of me is like, I want everybody that's going to be happy. They're buying a ticket. It supports a major charity that I'm in line with. Um,
But how beautiful is that? And North Node in Pisces is about charity too. It's about how are we coming into unity consciousness? How are we coming into unity, that oneness? This is what you're doing tonight. And you're the facilitator of that as you allow that South Node transiting in Virgo to release whatever needed to be released, to give you the go ahead and the energy to move to the head of the dragon.
it's
You
not
should be
about
very
me.
proud.
I share this stuff to illustrate how real this is and how it applies. I'm not looking to see anything. You're just
I
giving the
know.
information. You did my chart back in June. You knew nothing. There was,
But I
and you're all you're doing is repeating what you did then. It's not like you quickly made this up to
exactly.
corroborate with my situation stories or anything like that. It's all there. And
Yeah.
maybe
So is that fate,
is
Steve?
that fate?
Did I just find your chart on my desk and say, you know what? Because I was cleaning and I thought, I mean, I didn't have to keep these charts because I could pull them up again if we needed them. But I listened to my intuition and said, you know what? I'm going to be talking to Steve tomorrow. I think I'm going to put these aside.
And we've talked before where you referred to the chart that you did, but you said, "Man, it's not here. It's not around, so I can't get it." You
Right?
know, it was at your
I,
fingertips today.
I did do that. Yes. But it
Um,
was right at my fingertips. And this is a gift from the universe to you to understand more of who you are in your soul contract. That's really, and if we can expand that to the people that are listening, you too can have that because that's what this solar eclipse is about. It's rooted in our practicality. I just wrote some tips, some insights, practicality and healing and refinement of our mind, body, soul connection. So if we on Sunday or before can release things that are holding us back, like, maybe we want to do a new nutritional plan and
mm.
how can we make our Virgo more sustainable and not so controlled or analytical and not to worry,
Just do
right?
like
The
Nike
second one,
says, just do it. Move your life
just
forward.
do
If
it.
the things are, it's right that meal plan. Let's say getting back to exercising. Let's say hiring a coach. It's right. You know it's right. Then just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
And Virgo is asking us in the South Node to release the overthinking of everything.
Yeah. Which
Oh,
I'm a Virgo. Um,
yes.
I've let that go.
Yeah.
I'm a reformed Virgo. That
Right.
comes with
And it's
that
in the fourth
territory,
house. Yeah.
but I have a friend. She's a Cancer. I make fun, not make fun, but I gave her a name. Her name is Tina. I call her OTT, overthinking Tina. She doesn't do it like she
Yeah.
used to, but she would always say it's not just a Virgo thing. We all overthink things because it's safe.
Always.
Because it's safe.
We're all human. We all have a heart. The last thing is I put to create space for more aligned commitments. And you know what, Steve? This commitment that you're going to tonight is so aligned. So again, if the audience can just take the experiences that we're talking about and what we feel about faith, and just for a moment, take a pause today and think about all this. January 11th, the lunar eclipse was in Pisces. And then now we have our partial solar eclipse in Virgo on the 21st. And then we come to this conclusion. And then we have time to work. It doesn't happen just like this. All right.
Mm,
So it takes time. It takes time. It's 18 months of getting
yeah.
it like where you want it to be. And then it starts over again
So
on something else.
so
We never
interesting.
stop.
And yeah, I think we have a better understanding of fate, but I think collectively we haven't
I don't
officially nailed it, but it seems
know.
like there's a little more understanding there. This is what you do, Nancy, and this is using astrology. I love it to help pilot somebody forward on the coaching level. How do we find you?
So you can find me at my website, which is thewhisperingsoul.net. You can also find me on my Instagram at the Whispering Soul Astrology. And you can email me at Nancy at thewhisperingsoul.net. I'd love to hear from you. I do short videos on my Instagram and I do astro mantras. So please get in contact. And thank you, Steve, for always sharing. You always make your experiences as a gift for all of us to heal and to be conscious and to think, to feel, think, and be. I think that's really important.
Thank you. I'm It's not about me. It's about validating what you do. And
Ah,
Whispering Soul says it all.
well, thank you.
Your soul, all of our souls, it's
Yes.
whispering to you. Now it's time to listen.
Yeah. Now it's time to listen.
We know the answer. Listen. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you for today. We'll catch up soon.
Oh, Steve, you have a great night
You too.
tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Okay? You
It
bet.
was
Take
fun.
care.
We'll be right
Bye-bye.
back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.